Right, glad to have you back again. The Harcourt Refinery begins operation after undergoing renovation and modernization that began in 2021 after the federal government secured a $1.5 billion contract to rehabilitate the facility. The refinery complex comprises two operational units established in 1965-1989 with a combined installed capacity of 210,000 barrels per day. The first plant has a capacity of 60,000 barrels per stream day, and while the second has 150,000 barrels capacity. The refinery's resumption is expected to further reduce Nigeria's dependence on imported products and reduce foreign exchange pressures associated with fuel importation. Now, to help us understand more about the workings of that refinery, we have an accomplished journalist, an author, media scholar, and strategist with 25 years of experience in media and communications, renowned as public policy and opinion influencer, development communication specialist, advancing public awareness in driving policy changes, human rights, and good governance. Dr. Lemmy Ughegbe is Executive Director of Make a Difference Initiative. Thank you so much. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
I think it's good to start with the difference between maintenance and rehabilitation. I think we need some clarity around this. What's your understanding of what has happened at the Harcourt Refinery?
Well, I think it's a matter of semantics. What we have right now is that a breath of fresh air has been breathed into the refinery, one arm of the refinery, and as such, we woke up to news earlier in the week. A surprising news, going by the fact that there had been several promises that the operations will resume at the Harcourt Refinery. And every time these promises were made, they were broken no sooner had they been made. So Nigerians woke up to the surprise this time around because no notice was given, no prior notice. And what has happened is that all efforts at reviving or rehabilitating the refinery yielded some measure of result because we don't have it 100% yet. As a matter of fact, the arm that has been revived is working at 70% capacity. But of course, it's baby steps. I've heard a lot of commentators talk about it and make it look like it's just some subterfuge. And yes, you must respect the views of people, of cynics. For me, I think we should be cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic because it's important to always hold the refineries and its operators, hold their feet to fire so as to make sure that they do not drop the ball. Since now operations have started at the level it has started, we need to hold their feet to fire while encouraging and saluting the fact that, look, if you suffer a stroke as a human being, if you are lucky that the stroke still allows you to recover your working process, you will have to start all over again with baby steps. So we've significantly started. It's a little more than baby steps. The refinery is at least at the capacity that it can churn out 60,000 barrels per day. And that helps the whole process of bringing down the cost ultimately if we can sustain supply. So I think it's a win for Nigeria. It's a win for consumers because having the Harcourt Refinery function and optimally too would help to promote the whole essence of the Petroleum Industry Act, which allows for deregulation so that there is healthy competition and Nigerians will be the beneficiaries of such healthy competition. So I think it's a very welcome development that we can heave a sigh of relief that after much promises, some measure of operations have started, and it's all we can do really while holding their feet to fire is to appreciate and commend the fact that some steps have been taken. At least we have things to talk about and how to encourage the system to ensure that this progress that has been made can be increased and can be sustained.
Issue of blending and all of that has also come up. I know that in crude refining, there are processes involved. And of course, we've heard of when the mechanical segment was completed and or when all of these processes were on at the refinery. Now, what is your understanding of this with regards to the products coming out of this facility?
Okay, yes, I've listened to various opinions, various shades of opinion, and they make blending look like a criminal offense. I think that even if you are a critic, it's important to appreciate some facts. Global best practices, standards across the world is that blending, it's a normal thing. What is blending? In simple terms, it is bringing different elements, chemicals together in order to form a harmonious product that will be at an improved level. So, and the volatility of compounds, of elements, is such that you need to actually have a blend of these various components in order to have fine products at the end of the day. So let's not sound as if blending is something that is just being done at the Port Harcourt Refinery. If you a mere Google search, you would see that it is a global best practice anywhere. There is nobody that will just get crude purely and just produce products. Everybody goes through the process of mixing chemicals, ultimately in order to get the best standard for consumers. So a lot of ulabalu has been made, a lot of brouhaha over the issue of blending. A situation where you have, for instance, the image maker of the NNPCL, honest enough, open enough, frank enough to disclose that they are at a situation like that. You see, when we think that at every point in time where we should count our gains and our progress, we think that the best thing to do is to beat down a system by being overtly critical. We end up discouraging people from full disclosure. The NNPC Limited, through Femi Shoneye, have disclosed as honestly as they can the fact that the blending is done and the process is open to improvement continually. Let's not sound like it's something that was just manufactured by the system. Blending is a normal process in getting the best product into the market.
Well, let's move to talk about there were replacements, of course, of products and all of that during this process. And there will also be technological upgrade in some cases, like advanced control systems and software to improve efficiency and safety. What are you thinking about the capacity moving on of this facility after this overall? In some quarters are saying, how long do you think this will last? And what do you also make of the charge by the president that other refineries, Warri, Kaduna, should also come on stream immediately? Do you think this will bring that needed competition that we've been talking about? It's a two-in-one question in the industry, of course, following the PIA's implementation.
Yes, it's also important that we also give some plaudit to the president and commander-in-chief, because it looks really like a mirage, as though we couldn't even get any activity at least done at any of the refineries. So, but this week we've woken up to good news about it, and the president ought to get his flowers for that effort. And not to rest on his horse, he's challenged the managers to ensure that the Warri and Kaduna refineries work. I think that's the way to go. If we can get all of these refineries working, it will ensure that we have more than enough supply, of course, with Dangote Refinery also producing at a maximum. The ultimate beneficiary of that are Nigerian consumers, because once you have more than enough product for that the supply is more than the demand, is basic economics that Nigerians will be benefiting from it. But it's important that the second arm of the refinery, which has, of course, a greater capacity, It's actually, the work is intensified on it so that we can get that done. We need to complete the Port Harcourt Refinery, the second arm, before we even jump to Warri and all others. But of course, the president has displayed great political will to say that this must be done and Port Harcourt and Kaduna should be done. The truth of the matter is that that is what is expected by the Nigerian people, because we must know that our laws, like the PIA Act, should be worth more than the paper it is written on. Under a PIA, we should have a deregulated system, a deregulated sector. Willing buyer, willing seller, we should be able to say that you have more than enough choices to make as consumers what products are there. Remember, in those days, in the 70s, in the 80s, there used to be different grades of petroleum products. And so you go for the one that you can afford. So, and this is the kind of thing you will get if we can make sure that our technological improvements at the various refineries are up to date, so that people at least are able to afford at least one level of it or the other. It's a normal practice, and we expect that Mele Kyari and all others who are involved in this, including the Minister of State for Petroleum, since of course the substantive Minister of Petroleum, the President and Commander-in-Chief, is demonstrating a lot of political will in giving the needed support. Remember that it was in 2021 that funds were released, about $1.5 billion for these operations, but until now, it looks like a mirage. So we must acknowledge progressive steps. You know, every effort that is taken, every result that you see, we must acknowledge it. Let's not just be a people who are overtly pessimistic and critical, but in acknowledging it, we must also hold the feet of the managers to fire. That Nigerians expect that what they are giving us, an early gift in November for Christmas gift, we want to be able to have New Year gift, we want to be able to have Easter gift, with the Port Harcourt Refinery in full operation, with the Warri Refinery revived and in full operation, and Kaduna. If we have that, remember one of the transporters spoke from Port Harcourt, and he said he was relieved that if nothing else, they would not have to drive to as far as Lagos in order to be able to get petroleum products. So even if that is the little gain that we have made today, that people within the Port Harcourt and Niger Delta axis have access to some of these products, then it's not something we should downplay. We must appreciate the fact that we are making some progress and insist that Mele Kyari and his team work 3 times harder to ensure that we have more succor.
Indeed, movement of petroleum products with trucks is something that really needs to be looked at. And if we can reduce the distance one way or the other, that would definitely help. And that's really a very notable one when we're talking about this refinery coming on stream. Now, let's look at pricing. Pricing remains very important. Dr. Lemmy, I'm going to ask you, definitely you shouldn't be expecting that I would ask you about pricing. Nigerians, the first thing Nigerians ask us, oh, are we going to buy this lesser? But it's not like it's going to be like that, that's going to happen anytime soon. Let me ask you what you make of pricing, considering crude prices, and of course, we know the naira to dollar thing, even on with Dangote Refinery and the NNPC. But reality on ground is that this has to also be at par with international prices. I hope you agree with me.
Yeah, absolutely. The value of the naira to dollar is one key factor. Then, of course, our own capacity to produce what we consume locally. If we're able to take care of local production also, it is possible that the pricing can be affected, because if we produce more than enough and we're able to even export, then it's possible that government, through its policy, can look at a way to maybe cushion the cost. We are running away from the concept of subsidy, but like we say all over the world, it is these things are subsidized. So, but the only way it can be subsidized is if our Nigeria NNPC Limited and all the refineries are in full capacity in one way. Then, of course, if we have a lot other players coming to the industry, other refiners coming into the industry, I know that there are various licenses. I know that there's one that is coming up fast also in the Cross River axis. If all of these come in, it helps the deregulation of the sector. Definitely, at the end of the day, there will be healthy competition. When there is healthy competition, it's normal and it's natural and expected that the pricing will go down. But as it is at the moment, we are in dire straits. The earning capacity of the average Nigerian is affected. The economy is not at its best. So, of course, Nigerians are going through a lot of tough time in order to be able to purchase these products. So the expectation is that if we have more players come into the system and the NNPC Limited and the refineries the president have directed to be revived work, the chances are that there will be more supply than demand. And once there is more supply than demand, it is just natural that the market forces will bring it down for Nigerians to be able to consume at a lower pricing. Right now, it is not easy. We see all of the drama, even as we say NNPC, the refinery in Port Harcourt is producing now. You see that even the issues of pricing has not been dealt with, because for now, they are even still trying to sell off the Dangote refinery products that they bought, which is part of why I like the transparency, you know, being upheld by the media, the public relations team of the NNPCL. They could have just claimed that the products are products from their refinery, from the Port Harcourt refineries, but they were forthright enough to actually tell us that the products that are still being released are products purchased from the Dangote refineries, while the ones they are producing are going only to their retail stores for now. So they would need to get their acts also together so that we can have what the exact pricing is when they begin to push the products more into the market.
Well, I think a lot is playing out in this space, and I must thank you so much for coming up to speak to us around this. Dr. Lemmy Ughegbe is a development communications specialist. Wears many caps. I must thank you so much for joining the program. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, then. Well, it's time to look at market figures. And